Welcome back to Born to React. Let's get it.
All right. Hello. How y'all doing today? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reacting to the viral story that's been everywhere. You can't go anywhere without seeing a video about it, hearing someone talking about it. But the shooting death of Alex Petty. Um, he was unalived, I guess, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I believe it was on the 22nd, 24th, like a couple days ago. But in my opinion, this is basically when your white privilege application gets revoked. um, because as you can see, he was in my opinion, provoking, agitating, and obstructing, getting in the way. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I don't think anybody would have got away with this, especially with how it transpired. I know there's a lot of people that are, don't like the police, understand it was a shooting death. But if you look at the video and you have to interpret it by law, which is I'm learning, you have to interpret it by law as if you're in those shoes in the split second that it happened. So we're gonna listen to this news story, and then we're gonna get into a angle that shows more of what was going on leading up to that.
More videos have emerged in the killing of 37-year-old Alex Pretty by federal agents. This happened Saturday in Minneapolis. The new angles appear to contradict the Trump administration's version of the events leading up to the deadly shooting. NBC's Morgan Chesky reports from Minneapolis.
Yeah, here in Minneapolis, another incredibly tense night following the shooting death of 37-year-old VA nurse Alex Pretty. There were multiple arrests overnight after protesters clashed with authorities.
You see those protesters, man? They're not peaceful. I'm honestly surprised they showed this, but you're not going to see this on CNN. But look at what the protesters are doing. Look at what ICE has to deal with on a day-to-day.
Outside of a hotel that they believed federal agents were staying at. In the meantime, two federal law enforcement sources now tell NBC News that they believe DHS will be the lead agency into the investigation of Pretty's death, assisted by the FBI and the DOJ, which notably is a deviation from what is standard protocol. In the meantime, there is an absolute palpable tension here with the release of multiple different angles capturing this fatal encounter between Pretty and federal agents there Saturday morning, where he appeared to help a woman holding a phone in his hand before being
Obstruct. Listen to the language. He was obstructing. He was helping a woman who the police were trying to detain or arrest, but they were trying to separate them, and he was trying to play Captain Saber. That's what happened.
taken to the ground, contradicting DHS statements saying that he approached the area brandishing a firearm. NBC News has independently verified at least 5 separate angles of this shooting, which is certainly igniting a new firestorm in this city following the shooting death of Renee Good nearly 3 weeks ago. In the meantime, we know that a federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from altering or destroying any evidence in Pretty's shooting investigation after local officials here sued. And in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, President Trump said that federal authorities here will eventually have to leave at some point, but that they've done a phenomenal job. But he did not offer a clear timeline as to when that could eventually take place. Notably, when asked if he believed if this agent did the right thing or not, the president did not give a clear answer. Morgan Chesky, NBC News, Minneapolis.
All right, so you heard that. In my opinion, like I said, wrong place, wrong time. We're gonna get into a longer version of the video just so you can see what happened leading up to that.
Go.
So
What the
if you've
fuck
seen
is
him
wrong
up
with
there,
you? You're the fuck people. The fuck is wrong with you?
he's resisting, and he's armed. Not to mention, dude is resisting with a gun. Come on now, if this is not a clear example of he thought he had white privilege. Come on now, he's First of all, he's getting in their way when they're trying to arrest a woman, pulling her. If you noticed, he's dragging the woman when they're trying to separate them. As you can see, look at him.
The fuck, people! The fuck is wrong with you? Honestly!
So you're fighting the officers while armed. Not saying he reached for it at that moment, but right now he's fighting with officers while armed. Who does that? You heard them yell gun. This angle was too fast, but I believe an officer disarmed him and then he was shot. Let's check that angle out. So as you can see, they're pulling on his ankle to try to get him down. He's fighting. Right? At this point in the video, you can see this officer reaching for his side right here. That's where his gun is. Okay? He's reaching for his side, and if you guys listen to the other video, in fast, like when it's sped up, you can hear them screaming, "Gun, gun, gun!" Right? So he's trying to disarm him at this moment. Right? It didn't come easy. He grabs his firearm. It looks like he disarms him now. Right? As you can see, he pulled something off of his hip. Right here. This object was removed. Boom. At that instant, you can see an arm come back right there. Right there. Sorry. Right here. You see an arm come back. In my opinion, he was armed, and when he felt that his gun was removed, he reached back in instinct. Not saying that he wanted to do anything to those officers, but in instinct, he reached back for his weapon. I'm going to show you a different angle. As you can see, arm goes back right there. That is his arm right here. His arm goes back. And I'm not sure if that's instinct because his firearm was removed, but his arm went back where his firearm had just been, where the police officers identified he had a weapon. He then reached back, and that's when you hear the first shot. It wasn't negligent. It might have been very fast because you got to understand, in the court of law, you have to put your feet in the officer's shoes as if you were there in that instance, not as if we're replaying and he can't do that. And cops do have the right of self-defense. So in my opinion, this dude caught a case of white privilege, thought he had it. He didn't, because this is not the first time that protesters have came with guns. Plenty of times protesters have come with guns. Black Lives Matter. All throughout 2020, when George Floyd was killed, protesters came out with their guns. They weren't looking to start an issue when they came out with their guns. They peacefully protested, walked down the streets in lines with body armor, masks on, so you couldn't see their face. They look more threatening in these images than Alex PRETTI did. But you know what they're not doing? They're not getting in the way of officers. Crowds of, and these are black people. So this is what I'm trying to iterate. He thought that because he was a white male, he could push on the officers, get in their way, and try to stop them from taking down another woman. And these are black men in the 60s. Guns in front of the police officers. Look at his finger. Real close to the trigger. You see these images? So at the end of the day, it's not about the fact that he had a gun. It's the fact that he thought that he had a battery in his back because of statements by the governor, Tim Walz, and the mayor. I don't even know his name. I think his name is
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Jacob Fry or something like that. Statements from them like this are the reason that people have a battery in their back and think they can step to law enforcement officers.
I just saw a video of more than 6 masked agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end? How many more lives need to be lost before this administration realizes that a political and partisan narrative is not as important as American values? How many times must local and national leaders must plead with you, Donald Trump, to end this operation and recognize that this is not creating safety in our city? As you'll hear from Director Sayer in just a second, we have seen these kinds of operations in other places, in other countries, but not here in America. Not in a way where a great American city is being invaded by its own federal government. I'm done being...
Listen to the verbiage he's using. Pummeling our citizen. Mass men pummeling our citizen. Like, come on, bro. The verbiage he's using is causing animosity within ICE and the public. ICE is there to do a job. They're in Minnesota, and the eyes are on Minnesota because of all the fraud, not because there's black Somali or black Africans in Somalia. I mean, shit. So, but you get what I'm saying. Come on.
Told that our community members are responsible for the vitriol in our streets. I'm done being told that our local elected officials are solely responsible for turning down the temperature. Just yesterday, we saw 15,000 people peacefully protesting in the streets, speaking out, standing up for their neighbors. Not a single broken window, not a single injury. Those peaceful protests embody the very principles that both Minneapolis and America was founded upon. Conversely, the mass militarized force and unidentified agents who are occupying our streets, that is what weakens our country. That is what erodes trust in both law enforcement and in democracy itself. So to everyone listening, stand with Minneapolis. Stand up for America. Recognize that your children will ask you what side you were on. Your grandchildren will ask you what you did to act to prevent this from happening again.
Your grandchildren will tell you, why the hell was there so much debt? Because that's really what the crux of this whole issue is. $9 billion and maybe more allegedly of fraud in just Minneapolis, Minnesota alone. And guess who has to pay for that? We're trillions of dollars in debt. They're telling us, what are we going to tell our grandkids? Yeah, what are we going to tell them when the dollar is worth nothing? Because we allow politicians like you to use and abuse the dollar, send it to different migrant groups to stay in power just so you can juice the system. Because if you've noticed, all of these Democrats are rich. Ilhan Omar, her husband is worth $30 million, and that happened within a year.
How about Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar? In February of this year, she shot down claims that she's actually a millionaire. She wrote, "My salary is $174,000 before taxes. I don't have stock or own a home. And I'm still paying off my student debt. So if you're going to lie on something that is public, maybe try checking my financial statements, and you will see I barely have thousands, let alone millions." Well, people have checked the public records now. Ilhan Omar apparently has a net worth upwards of $30 million, somewhere between $60 and $30 million. And get this, it's because of companies run and owned by her husband, who in 2023 had a net worth of $51,000. In 1 year, that $51,000 grew from $6 to $30 million. 3,500% growth in 1 year. What a good communist. It's always equality for you, elitism for those in power.
1 year. Come on now. Don't be sleep because you got some, please, and black people, please don't be sleep because you got some snowflakes that wanted to get in front of law enforcement to exercise their privilege. Not their right, their privilege that they assume they had. Nope, nothing tells you, you have no right to get in front of the police officer when they're trying to detain or arrest a woman, especially while armed. I understand you had your phone in your pocket, in your hand, but when they're trying to take you down and you're fighting that hard, come on, bro. And then you reach for it, instinctively or not, you did that. Wrong place, wrong time because you wanted to be Captain Save 'em. Come on now. This is ridiculous. Don't let these people, black people, Americans, do not let these people brainwash you into thinking that ICE is going out there just killing people for no reason. They're not. These people are violent, right? Earlier today, says ICE officer will lose finger after Minnesota rioter allegedly bites it off. Come on now. Are these the peaceful people? I'm not sure if these are the people who did it, but his fingertip is in a jar. And you got this guy saying nothing wrong happened. There was no broken windows. Nobody was injured. Do you hear the rhetoric that is coming out of the mayor of this city? He didn't have nothing to say about the fraud, nothing. But he wants to come out and stoke your emotions. At this point, if you're a man, this is really testing your grit, your manhood. I understand it's emotional. Get out of your emotions. Okay? Don't react to this like a woman. If you were in that situation and somebody was going to pull a gun on you, if this was your buddies, right? And you're trying to do a citizen's arrest, right? And somebody was to start brandishing, or not brandishing, but resisting, and then when you pull his gun off of him, right? He reaches back. One of your friends probably didn't see that happen. At that point, he's going to shoot. He's going to go to jail because he's not a police officer. But once you put that badge on, the circumstance become 10 times different. Now, your commands are lawful commands. Get on the ground. Stop resisting. Get out of the street. When you're not doing what they say you're supposed to be doing, especially in an intense environment like that, something is bound to happen. Something is bound to happen. And in my opinion, these two found out the hard way. Found out the hard way. Did not have to be there. Look at their body language. It shows privilege. It shows privilege that they thought they had. You're instigating the law enforcement, federal law enforcement, for some illegals when you haven't even looked at the evidence to see if they're actually fraudulent, if they are committing fraud or not. It's plain, it's black and white, allegedly. I gotta throw that in there. Well, come on now. You guys are on the wrong side of history. You guys are fighting for things that are going to affect your children and your grandchildren, if you even have any, in the future. Because all of this fraud is going to hit them down the road. You're going to sit here living lavish. That's why Trump's doing things right now to set up our children and our grandchildren. But you guys are sitting here on your high horse while things are somewhat good. You were there when Biden was in office when inflation skyrocketed. Do you want that to double if the American dollar falls even more in 15, 20 years? You can't afford a home, but you got illegals coming here and buying them right in your face. And because you want to sit on your moral high horse and think everybody can come here and eat off of your plate, your children will end up starving. Your grandchildren will end up starving. And they're going to look at you like, what side of history were you really on? And don't think they won't cut you the hell out because of your idiotic decisions. Because look at Gen Z and millennials, younger millennials. We've been beating this drum for how long? Look at Charlie Kirk. Look at all these YouTube podcasters that were talking about the fraud and corruption that was happening in DC, in the White House, or in Congress, rather. Come on now, you guys have to wake up. Stop getting duped because you're going to lose everything. But that's all I got to say. Video is a little harder to make. I want to do this a couple days ago, but I got so much stuff going on. But hopefully you guys liked it. I appreciate all 23 of my new subscribers, all of you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. I will be getting better. Give me any tips if you guys have them. But hopefully you guys like, comment, subscribe. Have a good night. Peace.